Talk with Real People. Funny Talk with Real People.
Yo, what's going on? Welcome to Funny Talk with Real People, Inappropriate Podcast. I'm your host, Damien, Mr. Inappropriate.
I'm your girl, Mika, she so fly.
And Missy Monroe.
I'm not even that salty like that. I'm Tiger Escobar. What's happening?
What happened?
Ah, man, you said that with some kind of
It was
male
like it was
sultry,
some
whatever.
sultriness going
And
on.
today we have Mr. Michael Glanton Jr.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, we're gonna do something different today. We're gonna talk political. We're gonna talk politics.
Politics,
we're gonna talk,
politics, politics.
Yeah, we're gonna do something different today.
But first things first.
Yes, first things first.
What about killing feelings? Is there a time? What about all the things that you said were yours and mine? We want to say happy birthday to the King of Pop. We miss
birthday
you.
to
We
King.
love you.
Happy birthday,
We did
Michael
no
Jackson.
justice to that song. I mean, we can sing other things too, like Billie Jean. I mean, we can sing all that, but we're not gonna take the man in the mirror. We're not gonna do karaoke tonight.
Okay.
We're gonna leave it alone. We just want to tell him happy birthday.
Michael
We love
Jackson.
you. We miss you. You're
Happy birthday,
awesome.
Mike.
I cry like a baby when
Definitely
you passed
did.
away, as if you were my brother or my dad or
I was
something.
gonna say,
I
well,
literally
couldn't have been
cried.
your boyfriend.
No, could have been my boyfriend.
Wait a minute, you cheating on Robin De Niro?
He
I didn't say that. She
Oh.
said that.
Oh, I'm about to
I
say.
cried like a little baby. Like I literally cried for hours when they said Michael
I
Jackson
just
died.
stopped crying over Prince, but we're not gonna take Michael's spot.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Please,
happy
not
birthday.
Prince.
We love
Happy
you
birthday
so
to you,
much.
Mike,
You're the
MJ.
greatest.
Yeah.
We love you.
So today we're gonna get into some real talk about some things that we probably need to be talking about. Michael, congratulations on all of things. But you know what? Before I even get into that, tell them who your dad is.
First of all, my dad is Mike Sr. He's been a member of the Georgia House of Representatives for 12 years, and he has done a whole lot of great, awesome work, you know, for the state of Georgia and for the Clayton County area and the Henry County area. So I'm just a young man trying to follow in his father's footsteps.
Awesome.
Good
awesome.
job. Hats off to
And
you
that's
first
where
of
it
all. Hats off
starts,
to
yeah.
you. Yes.
It kind of starts a lot of times in the home with our political beliefs and
Right.
followings. Usually what we're taught in home, we kind of grow up and
We take
go in
that
that
with the
same
rest of-
direction
right, in
and
the
kind
same
of take
path.
that same path and belief system. Is that kind of what went on in your household? You know, like, I don't know. Did you...
Is politics your dream, or is it something that you have been inspired because of your dad?
Well, first of all, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna step back and just tell y'all thank y'all, and I'm honored to be on this show with y'all. This is a first opportunity for me stepping outside of my shell, so I'm honored that it's with y'all, and I believe that, you know.
thank you.
You said that way too soon. Wait until the show.
No, let him say
Okay.
No,
Way too soon.
Don't worry, we're not going to buy it.
We're happy.
Well, I appreciate y'all, but politics. No, actually, we didn't grow up in a household with politics. He's been in the house for 12 years,
Okay.
and you know, as a young man, I made different decisions. And 12 years ago, by the Lord's will, you know, He put him in that position, and it opened a direct door for me. So my obligation is to open doors up for everybody else that wants.
Well,
That's
fancy
awesome.
that. Good.
Absolutely.
That's
I feel
awesome.
like you're only 12.
I was just
so
about
I'm
to
gonna leave
say-
it alone.
I was
But
about
thought
to say
you
the
was
same.
12 too.
Well, thank you. Well,
Shit,
in the
12
same
up
box
in here.
together.
Shit. How old you thought
You're
I
gonna make
was?
her hot and sweaty.
I already got real
Look,
hot. That means I'm
how
not
old you
12
thought I
because I'm
was?
flashing. But
I thought you
anyway.
was like 10. I ain't know.
Ooh, he thought I was 10.
I'm not definitely not 12 because I'm flashing.
y'all know
But
We all got our secrets.
I'm
right?
10.
right,
I'm
but
10.
Beauty
no,
secrets.
right? Yeah, there
I'm
we
10.
have those.
Now y'all know what happened last time y'all called somebody a baby. You understand?
I don't want to.
He called us a baby. He said 10 to 12. I'm 10.
Yeah, I'm getting real hot. Anyway, all between all this. But I've always said that we need more politicians, lawyers, judges, as in our community because we have enough athletes, we have enough rappers. We need
Nice.
people who can make a difference.
Yes.
Now, rappers and athletes, they could probably take their money
Right,
and
and no
make a
shade
difference
to
in the
them.
community. No shade at all, but in the time we're living in right now, we need someone to make a difference in our community. via the legal system, because
Right.
that's where we're lacking help.
I agree. I think that we have to be more engaged because it's not good for part of the population to vote, but everybody to be represented. Then we wonder why policy and legislation doesn't go our way. I remember when I used to complain to my dad about different things, like, Dad, man, I got pulled over, they gave me a speeding ticket, or this, that, and the third. And I remember my dad said, hold on, son. If you're not going to do nothing about it, don't say anything about it. So I felt, compelled to make sure I do something about it. Instead of being a complainer, we got to jump in the game and make
So
sure.
what is your views on the famous line that a lot of us, and myself included, used to say this as well, is my vote didn't matter anyway. So I originally did not vote when I first became of age to vote because I felt like it didn't matter anyways. So what is your views?
Well, I'm going to give you an example. As a consultant, I see everything.
Obviously.
And one specific race that I saw, it was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago when it was a mayoral race in the city of Morrow. One vote won the race.
One vote.
One
That's one
ballot.
person. Wow.
Plus, we know a lot of complainers, and we can't be complainers if we're not engaged and involved. So I believe that everybody's vote matters.
Right.
And the more of us turn out in numbers, then the less opportunity people have to steal those ballots.
And I believe definitely on the local level. I know a lot of people, my vote's not going to count, and we have the electoral college and all of that. But I know old people who, number one, should be voting because who were living when A, you were a woman and you couldn't vote, and B, you were black and you couldn't vote. So there's no excuse for any black person to not vote, period, because just a short time ago we didn't even have the right to vote. But it's most important to vote on your local level because that is what affects you firsthand. Like,
example, we are so distracted sometimes, but I live in an area where it's a majority African American, and we have a new city of South Folsom. Everybody probably familiar with. It's been one of the most predominantly African American areas for a long time, and we had a brand new city that became incorporated, but in the inaugural mayor council race, out of 125,000 people that are registered to vote, 17,662 people voted. That's 13%.
Trashy.
So I like to tell people, when it comes to funding and legislation, people don't look at come out and see how clean we keep our yards or how well we keep them mowed or how well we teach our kids. They look at those numbers. If we can't get those numbers right, then they say, okay, you know what? We're going to worry about them last. That's 13%. We're going to go worry about the people that voted 60%. So that's why it's important for us to vote, because people don't come talk to us. And if we want funding and we want representation that go out there and fight for us, then we got to stand up behind them.
Absolutely.
how do you propose we get to the youth? Because I mean, there's some older people. They, I don't know.
They're set in their ways.
They're set in their ways. But we need the youth, the young people, and it seems like with the Rock the Vote and all of that, we did get a good
Start.
passion, a good start, and a good crowd. But it may have just tapered off a little. I don't know. Then everybody's just losing hope now. I'm not going to talk about different political parties and things. But anyway, they are losing hope. So how do you have anything that you can to tell the youth, or how we can empower the youth to want to even vote and make a change? Or
Well, now is not the time to get complacent. Now is not the time to get distracted. Now is the time that we look at situations that we are unpleased with, and we say we got to get involved. And with the youth, we are all still young right now.
We're all young.
We're all still young right now. So I think that we show them by what do they look at most when they look at these videos? They look at the flashiness, they look at the clothes, they look at these things. But I remember walking down the street in a neighborhood, rough neighborhood in Atlanta, and I had on I was dressed up, how I do. And young kids walked up and they said, "Where you come from, church?" I said, "Why I got to be coming from church? It's a Monday. What you mean?
Right.
I've been to work." So I think that, but what they were doing, they was like, "Oh, you smell good, you clean," you know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third. So I think that, I smell good. You smell good?
She likes smelling
he smells
underarms.
good. But he smells good though.
But I think they pay attention to visual. And see, one reason why I don't want to cut my beard or my hair is because I didn't want to take image that they can look at and say that you can't be who you want to be because of your image. I have people, one man said, well, you know, I didn't know you were doing this because of the beard and everything. I was like, yeah, but when I speak with intelligence.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we can keep it clean, but we got to be also ready to speak with intelligence. Right? Absolutely. So just being visual, being vocal, and being relatable and accessible.
Exactly.
Now, all right, so here's a question. Just based on the fact that, you know, it's really not a young man's game, but the world is turning.
Yeah.
So, as a young dude, what do you feel your oppositions are? What are your uphill battles?
People thinking that you may be naive, people thinking that you may not know this much. I know a lot of politicians that are seasoned, but they learn on the job. Mm-hmm. And one of the best things that was afforded to me was I learned on the job. You know, I didn't go to college for this. I didn't spend 8 years in some school just tucked off in a book. I learned from firsthand experience. Okay. So if we can learn on the job, not necessarily saying everything is good to learn on the job, but we give people a chance to learn and get interested. I got interested just because I see how much of influence that it has over each and everything that we do. Real estate, how we film, where we film, how we stop at this stop sign, you know, what our taxes are. Everybody pay property taxes or sales taxes or something. So it affects each and every one. I used to be the person to say it didn't bother me. It didn't affect
How
me.
do you feel that politics are, as far as when it come with our youth? Like for myself, when I was growing up, in a sense, politics weren't something that were touched on in school. It not in depth as far as like the smaller elections or, you know, the smaller candidates that are voting, that are running for like mayor office or senator or, you know, whatever, like, you know, judge and stuff like that. Those things weren't really touched really heavy in my school when I was growing up. And I don't think that that's something that is really touched in my children's school today. So how do you incorporate something where the kids can be aware and knowledgeable about what's going on? Because like my son's 17 or 16, about to be 17, so in a year he'll be able to vote. Like how do I get him interested in the facts and the politics that are going around or going on that he can, you know, understand in layman's terms for him, because we have to reach them in a way that they can understand it.
Right.
Well, I appreciate that question. And one of the things, see, this week I have to speak to an American government class at a local high school. And so I go around and I speak to them and I try to make it where they can understand it. Okay. But I think it's so important for us to try to make sure that we explain to them that the local elections affect us quicker than the national elections. The national elections are very important, but they have more money. So they can be more polarized. They can be on TV, radio, and things like that. The local elections, yeah, we do it. I've seen people just want to run traditional campaigns so they stay elected. I want to run a campaign that is very visual, very vocal, so that we'll be on a grassroots level. I talk to people whether they in Idaho, California, New York, other side of Atlanta, because there are no boundaries with this campaign. The objective is to make sure that we reach people and make sure that we get the information out in terms of what we do, how important it is, and effective.
So with your campaign and without, I'm sorry, did you have something? I don't want to cut you off.
Nah, you good. I was good. I'll go touch on what he said, what Mika just said. I absolutely love it. You know what I mean? Like the whole dynamic of the politics and the in-house jobs and things like that, in-the-office jobs and things like that, is getting younger. The approach is different. I mean, because when you talk about growing up in school, like with us, like you think about politics and things like that, office jobs, you think old, white, stuffy stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now it's more like charismatic, and then going out there is more vibrant, things like that. So now, with him being a young man like he is, and we seeing that, not only just being a young man, like a young black male. So now these might be kids coming up that got aspirations, like, you know what I'm saying, be like him. Imagery is everything. Imagery is everything. So you see somebody that looks like us in there, he's young still, you know what I mean, still quick,
And it's
witty.
important to not steer away from your image and who you believe you
Absolutely.
are.
That's why I love he kept his beard in his hair.
Honestly, now that you bring that up about your age group and all that, when I say we need people your age taking these positions, if you think back to the civil rights era and all that time, I've been saying for a long time, where's our Martin Luther King? Where's our next So there hasn't been one.
Right.
We've been riding the coattails of the civil rights movement for
Forever.
for 30 some years
As
or
long
more.
as I've been
We
living,
haven't
yeah.
had anybody like that generation, like the Martins and the Ralphs and the whomever, fighting for our rights like they were. And they had younger people who were looking up to them. That's why there were younger people coming up under their wing. We have not had anyone.
We don't have Jesse
in
Jackson.
our generation
Yeah, we-
really taking this fight over. And it
Exactly.
takes all of us to stand up and take the fight on. It takes people like
Michael.
Sorry, no, I was just mixing up my words. It's okay. But anyway, it takes people like him to show the younger generation that we have to fight for our rights and stand up for ourselves. So we need more Michaels. We need more Martins. We need that now. We have not had it.
Now I'm gonna ask you a real straightforward question of how do you deal with the racist part of this? Because there is a part of this that is racist. And we talked about that on another show, but now it just felt appropriate to, put that out there.
One of the ways I like to beat racism is being in position. I don't think that don't get me wrong, I love marching and rallies and
Right.
things like that because those things create visibility and we understand the strength in numbers. But I think that we need to be in position. If we in position, then we can make stuff happen. If we
You
can
have
make
power.
stuff happen, then we can make stuff shift.
Because power
When
behind
you're
a
in
powerful
position, you have
person makes a
power.
powerful movement, and that's exactly what needs to
Man, I look up sometimes, and I'm in the room with people that probably won't even talk to me. if They saw me walking down the street, but because I'm in the room, they say, "Oh, he's in the room." I wonder how he's in the room.
Somebody. So
Why
why
is
is
he
he
in
in
the
this
room?
room? It's
And if
somebody.
you speak with intelligence and you handle yourself right, then now we're advocating for not only ourselves, but we're advocating for everybody, and we change the perception. So the way to answer your question to combat racism, I change perception one person at a time.
Exactly.
When I walk up to a person of a different race, I present well. So now they don't say every person is like this, or every African American or every black person is like this. They change that perception and they say, okay, well, we're not necessarily looking for approval, but we're looking to show people that, hey, we're superior
Right.
as well. We got a lot of
Right,
strength
right.
as well too,
Absolutely.
so we can be
And
that.
sitting here, just listening and talking with you, and definitely not saying that you are or you aren't. However, I teach my children, or I tell my boys all the time, that a powerful man is not a man that just has just has book smarts, but has common knowledge as well as street smarts in a sense. You have to have the ability to turn your street on and off as well as your intelligence when need
Absolutely.
be. And just talking with you, I definitely can tell that you may have you can relate to all genders. You can relate to all different
Walks of
spectrums
life,
and
right.
walks of
I
life.
grew up in Decatur, Thomasville Heights.
I was going to
Thank
ask
you.
you where you
That's
were
what I was
from.
gonna say.
Yeah, I grew up a little bit everywhere. I grew up in Rome, Georgia, Thomasville Heights, Decatur, Glenwood.
Shout out to
Street.
Rome, Georgia, and Nicole.
Decatur where it's greater.
Everywhere,
So before we go any further, because we do have our Dr. Oz or Ozzy is in the building, and he is dying to get in this conversation.
wants to get in the
because
conversation.
He keeps linking us,
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm not going to repeat
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
what
he
he's
keeps
saying.
texting us
so
while
we're
we-
going to bring him in. Okay.
Hey,
Hello,
he's about to lose his
Dr.
mind if he
Hey, Pam.
can't talk.
So go ahead and get your he has a
Blanton,
question.
Blanton Jr.
Because I have
Michael
another
Blanton
question,
Jr.
but I talked a lot. So go ahead, and I'll
Go
let you
ahead,
do
Ozzy's
it.
ladies
Well,
and gentlemen.
one of the things he's touched on is the perception of a young man that looks like him that's in the politics. It's the same reason why I was just walking here with my ball cap turned backwards and the way I look as a neurobiologist. And the image, when you make science cool, we make politics cool.
did make
Imagery,
Y'all make it
imagery,
so
imagery.
cool. I love you guys.
And that's how you get to the young people.
Yeah.
That's how you get to the masses.
Honestly, got
because
to my son being
Exactly.
cool and relating to him
Exactly.
with science.
pop
hell.
culture rules the world.
My daughter met him one time.
We
and she
change
like, I love
definitions of
him.
words.
I love
You
him.
know what I'm saying?
You know what? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you good.
I see people in the movie industry that have all these tattoos.
Yeah.
Not necessarily people in front of the camera. Don't go get no ice creams on your face. But I see people with
Please.
tattoos all over the place, and I'm like, they're good at what they do, and when you're good at what you do, then people ain't distracted by that. So I like to walk in the room,
Yeah.
smelling good, looking good,
Exactly.
however I want, and now I'm doing what I'm doing and doing it good. So now the distraction is no longer there.
However, in politics, you couldn't walk in with tattoos on your neck and your arm.
Well, now,
Why not? Because you know,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
comedians.
Do you see? You
Frank- Al
don't see
Franken is a-
anybody in politics walking in.
But
like
you know, we
A lot
had
of things are less
we had
taboo
Jesse
these
the
days,
Body
though, too.
Ventura. We had.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, he was.
So honestly speaking, it's really about who you capture.
It
Did he
is
get
about
those tattoos
perception,
removed? Did he
though.
get them
No.
removed?
It is
we
about
I don't know, he
perception.
had
And where
some-
were they? On his name?
It is about perception, but I will
Yeah.
say this, and I'm not going to put my place of employment out there. However, I do work for a major corporation
I do
here
too.
in Atlanta,
Yeah.
Georgia, and I do love the
would
fact that they do not look or frown upon diversity and people having
Right.
their own image. As I walk through the door for my corporate position and having 14 tattoos on my neck, on my, I
got
thought
one
too,
on
yes,
the
I
back
do.
of your neck,
I
yeah.
thought too that, okay, I'm not going to get this job. Like, I'm just not. However, one of our major players in the corporate office of my employment, hair is shaved just like mine on the side. I appreciate, and tattoos. So
Right.
it's really about, some cases, it's about
In
what you
some
know and
cases,
your
yeah.
knowledge and how well you can sell yourself. And when you go into these interviews or these politics, you have to go in there and use your
Like he
mouthpiece
said.
to shine brighter than the image that's on your body.
You be confident.
True. You have to be confident
Church.
and speak professionally. And
earlier you guys touched on something about 17% of the
13.
13.
of the individuals voted.
Voted.
One of the things that I've noticed is that you don't necessarily hear about elections until
Right.
shortly before elections.
Elections.
Exactly.
And so one of the things, if you understand about marketing, because my bachelor's is in business with a marketing concentration. Marketing is the key to being able to make sure that people understand what's going on in the future. So you need to build up months prior to. Even the small elections need to really
no, I'm
capture
gonna
their
disagree
community.
with you on that because I have seen months prior these smaller elections building up. But when people just don't tend to pay attention to that because they somehow feel like, I believe, that this presidential campaign that's on national television everywhere is being presented to them more than these local commercials and things like that. And you got the local people going door to door. And they're just not. They're
Who's
not.
door?
They're, I'm telling you.
Now, and
I'm
that's what I was
telling you.
about to say,
I've
and
seen
that's
it
in
months
some-
prior. I've seen
Well,
it
that's
months
what I do.
prior.
I'm
It's
actually-
months
yeah,
prior.
I'm a
People are
field
just
guy,
not
so.
really keyed and tied
But
into
see,
their
and the
local
thing
elections
is
the way
about
they
that,
need.
How do you do that?
Right, and the thing with that is though, they do not do that in every community.
Right.
And in
Right,
every-
that's-
you know what I'm saying? Like, such as like Decatur, for instance. You're from there, so you probably be more acceptable, or you may be more comfortable going door to door versus someone else. They're just gonna come and plop the sign or ask, can they put the sign in the yard? That sign doesn't teach us or show us or tell us.
But
what it's
actually, as a citizen who's concerned about the community you live in, you need to be one to go research. You need to be going online to look at your candidates. Okay, I see a sign
This
here.
is true.
I see a sign in this yard. Let me go online and see what this person's
But that's the
campaign
part.
is
That's
about.
and that's the part where
But
we're
That's the
that's
part
where
we
you
need to be
responsible.
teaching.
But look at this.
That's the
I'm
part where we're failing.
That's
but then
where-
the part where the
how do you get
politics, the
to
person
people to
that's
do that?
actually needing to vote, they're failing because they're not necessarily making us
I'm
aware
glad.
I
of
don't
what
think
they're
that they're
doing.
necessarily failing, though. I think not all of them, so I can't speak
Yeah, not
for
all of
everybody.
them.
It depends on the
So it
program.
depends on the program
But
and your community.
I'm
I
glad
believe.
y'all said that because 12 years ago, the way I got in this game was my dad said, you know what, son, I need you to come knock on doors for free in the hot July
Right.
primary, knocking on doors, talking to people. But I say that to bring it full force to what I do now. I'm a political consultant. Right now, I hire young men and young women, whether they got dreads,
Right.
tattoos, or
Good.
whatever, and we canvass
Good.
neighborhoods all over the
And
city,
you
all
have
over
to
the state,
change
and
the
what we
image.
do.
That's good.
Yeah, I tell them that
have to.
when we go to door, one of the things that we're saying is we're introducing ourselves and we're introducing them to whoever the candidate is that we're representing. And we're also telling them to go back and do their research. I tell people all the time, I'm asking for your vote, but I want you to go do your
But do
research
your
first.
research,
Yeah,
okay.
do your research.
What-
Question. So in like, it's good to knock on a nice good single family or townhouse or whatever in these good communities. I live in the camp.
My community ain't good, honey. I don't know what the hell you talking about. People knocking on my door.
But what I'm-
Jehovah Witness, candidates.
I want
I know what you're
the
saying.
doors to be knocked in the villages,
Oh, but
in
they are.
those apartment
I'm glad you said
complexes.
that. They are.
Whereas, honestly,
I'm
speaking,
telling you, I
we-
live in a community like
and
that.
maybe yours, but I'm telling in the
Did you knock
majority of
on
the
the doors in the
communities,
bluff?
Yes.
I have not seen
Yes.
anybody
Yes.
going to the project.
Jehovah's
No.
Witness,
See,
Jehovah's Witness knock on the doors in the bluff, so
Okay.
don't even go there. They
I
do.
just had people knocking on doors in Bedford Pines and Angiers. If y'all familiar with that, that's Boulevard. When we
I
knocked on
am.
this, we knocked on these doors. There's a low income housing right next to a big high condo that's gone up recently.
Exactly.
And one of their complaints was, and listen to this, we're infested with rats. She said, we infested with rats. They built this
What do
building
you do?
and then put any lime on around the house,
Exactly.
and now all
And
the
the
rats
rats are
ran
coming
over
over
there,
here.
and we're infested with rats. And you know what? One lady, she pulled me inside her house, and that's one of my rules to say against the rules. She didn't physically pull me, but she said, "Come on in." They had already told me about all these boxes that they've given them for the rats, right? So when I went in, I saw all these boxes laying around the door. I mean, they were big size boxes. So I was like, she was like, "Yeah." I said, "I see the boxes. Is that for the?" She said, "No, I homeschool my kids because they get bullied at school, and I want them to understand and learn, and I want to be in control of that." So she changed my perception. Big up to that sister because she's taking a stand, even though she live in a tough area. She said her kids are still gonna be educated. So I was assuming they were rat boxes, but they were educational boxes.
And so think about that. What he just did was, when you go into these communities, when you knock on these doors, probably there's gems all in these little communities.
There
There's
are,
so
there
many.
are.
And so just because the outside may look a particular way,
There are people
you
who
have to go
want
knock.
change.
The
Right.
apartments need to be knocked.
Right.
Not just the houses.
I ain't scared to
Apartment
knock on the
doors.
door. I'm not scared to
See,
see. I'm
and
from
that's-
there, so
and
why
that's
am I
Well,
exactly
that's
right.
what I was going to ask you earlier. So, in terms of wherever you're going to campaign, we're not going to announce what you are running for, but
It's a secret.
it's a secret. But what can you bring to your community, or what are you telling your community you're going to change, or what are you going to bring to them that's different than what's going on right now?
Well, first, I want to bring just a youthful idea. A youthful technology is moving so fast that we can't even keep up with it. So I want to bring that youthfulness to the table. Then I also want to bring a strong mind towards growing. I look at other parts of I live in Fulton County. I look at North Fulton County. I see the landscaping. I see
Yes,
the growth.
they
I see
growing.
the train stations. Then I come back on my side of town. I see cars. I see trash or somewhere sometimes. Even though we live in a great neighborhood, but outside of it, I still see
Right.
the lack of. So what I want to do is try to bring awareness to that, and then go downtown and fight for that type of funding to come back. Because if we get funding, now we take those innovative ideas and we apply them in our neighborhood, and we bring people back to our neighborhoods. I looked at a design in Dallas, Texas, a little suburb called Richardson, Texas, of how they grew. The little suburb was rural, like my area. How they grew when they brought a transit station around, and they had live, work, and play areas. They had
Exactly.
businesses from people in the community. I was visiting my friend over by Brookhaven and by Center Bistro. They had nice, I'm talking about nice condos, nice, but you couldn't see the buildings. So the concept that I got is, if we put this out there, then we put it all the nice stuff inside. You got the same amenities, you got the same thing. That you get the same result. And if we start to do that,
I have a very, I mean, and it's not really political, but I have a very different outlook on our communities and the way that our communities look on the outside. For me personally, I feel like in order for our communities to look and shine bright, whether they're ran down or not, it's up to us.
To the people who
it's to the
live
people
there.
that live there. And I'm a very, very strong stickler for my children throwing their trash out the window, or my
Me
children
too.
putting trash on the street. I have even said stuff to people that I've seen driving down the street and just toss out a cup. It
I go
bothers
like
me.
this.
Yeah, it bothers me because if in order to change the perception of your hood
Right.
environment, you have to change your perception
Right.
of how you live. And my grandmother used to say this all the time: just because you live in a shack doesn't mean you have to treat it
you
as
have to
such.
live- right.
You know what I'm saying? If you treat your place as a shack, then that's how
Well,
everyone
that's
else
what
sees.
drives me crazy about this area that we live in right now, that I'm in right now, because I look around and I'm like, they're taking over. It's about to be total gentrification. We got the dome. We have everything coming up. You guys are going to be bought out,
Yes.
kicked out, and just fucked over. But then I drive through here and I'm like, They
This
don't
is
even give
why.
a shit.
This
You're
is
sitting
why.
out here, the shit in your yard, you got trash everywhere, furniture sitting everywhere. You don't
You don't give a
care
shit.
about your. It's not even necessarily your property. You may not own it, but it's your home.
You know what I say?
And people don't appreciate
Yeah,
their home.
don't just take pride in your neighborhood's name and area. Take pride in your actual neighborhood.
First of all, we
You know what I'm saying?
riding past all these civil rights leaders on these streets,
Yeah.
and half of us don't even know the history of
First
it.
of all, I just learned, honestly, I'm gonna put myself out there, that Coretta Scott King's home was over here off of Sunset when she died. I didn't know that. I've been living here, but I wasn't stalking her or anything. I mean, so I didn't know the lady. I wasn't around. But I just realized that house that I've been passing going on Sunset up in the cut and cars that still have the Secret Service out there was her home.
You know,
I didn't even know that.
You know what I say? How can somebody be in a house, trap it out, make $1 million out of it, but never think about buying it?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And
Exactly.
with that note, we're
Yeah.
definitely about to get ready
Yeah.
to wrap it up.
Yeah.
We want to thank Michael Ganton
We want
Jr.
to thank
for coming
him.
out,
Thank you.
speaking about politics. We want everybody to learn, to research, to look up politics that's going on in their area. Look at the people that are dealing with politics. We want you guys to make yourself aware so that you can be knowledgeable yourself. And with that being said, we thank y'all for tuning
We
in.
thank
Funny
you.
Bone
Yeah.
people.
I do want to
Yeah.
say something.
What?
We'll let him plug.
Go ahead, go ahead, make a plug.
My official announcement will be September the 21st at Milk and Honey, a black-owned restaurant in an awesome area on Cascade Road.
They got good
September the 21st at 6 to 10. Please come, support, enjoy. Just
Oh, the
just
address
fellowship.
is 5495 Cascade Road.
Yeah, 5495 Cascade Road. Awesome food, best food in the world, and thank y'all, man. This was awesome. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Pride itself.
We're gonna close it out.
I would just want to say we are sending our prayers to all
Oh,
of
yes.
those in Houston
Yes.
Yes.
because
Yes.
they've been
Praise Houston.
affected in a major way. I have friends and family there. I just want to send our prayers to them, and anybody who is capable of donating, please donate anything you have, if it's $5, $10, $20, because people are out of their homes and lost everything. So if you can, please
Research
donate.
the charities too, cause some of them some bullshit.
Yes.
Well, research the charity.
And with that, we say goodbye.
Good
Funny
night.
talk to real people. I'm Damian Mr. Inappropriate.
Mika
See
She
it
So
happening.
Fly.
Missy Monroe.
Tiger Escobar.
Mike won't lie, man.
Oswald.
Mr. Oswald.
Oswald Van
right.
Egbert Bunbury Jr., the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the damn sixth.
Funny talk with real people.